time for Voice of Indie. Your hosts today are Beem Weeks, author, producer, and marketing monster for independent multimedia publisher Fresh Ink Group, and Stephen Gies, author, producer, composer, and publisher for Fresh Ink Group.
Greetings, one and all. Welcome to a Thursday night special edition of the Voice of Indie podcast. This is episode 207, and I know last night was 208 or 209 actually. This 207 was supposed to be a go here a few weeks ago. Some technical difficulties, which everybody knows about by now. So we're doing 207 tonight. I am your host, Beem Weeks, and with me is Mr. Stephen Gies. How you doing tonight, Stephen?
Hey, I am thoroughly disoriented. I don't know what day of the week it is. I don't know what number show this is. I think we just start over with show number 1 and run through them all again.
Ooh, that's an idea. All right.
Yeah.
Got a couple of years.
Yeah. So we've
right.
had some good news this week. Janice D. Toney, author of Daddy Yo-Yo and the legendary Marvel Tournament, has just been awarded the Purple Dragonfly Award. That's a very high honor for children's books. So congratulations, Janice Toney.
Yeah, all right, definitely. Listeners, if you want to call in with a comment or with a question, guess what? You can do that. Here's how you do that.
Call 516-453-9902 right now with your questions or comments for tonight's guest. Or post a note on Twitter with hashtag Fresh Ink Group in the body of the tweet, and we'll read it on air. That's 516-453-9902 or hashtag Fresh Ink Group on Twitter.
All right. So, I don't know if you heard, Beam, but we've got some books out. We've actually put a few out in the past century or so. So, let's get started with Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow. And this is by Nell Cooper, who is also the author of the children's chapter book, Princess Lil, that we published a long time ago. So she's finally got her first grown-up novel out there, and this is the first of what looks like it's going to be a series. Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow. What's this about, Beam?
It's a fantastic book. It's a love story. It's a coming of age. It's a little historical fiction. It's set right here in Michigan, and it's about two young people that come of age living in a home for children who have mental deficiencies or physical handicaps. And these two grow up, and they form a tight relationship, and things happen, and the girl has to leave. She splits in the middle of the night, and the boy decides to go looking for her. Something happens to him. He gets a serious injury, and will they meet at the end, where they decided to meet, out by the where the water ends? Well, you have to buy the book and find out.
Yeah, no, this has only been out for a few weeks, but it's getting great reception so far.
Yeah, I gave it a 5-star review. It's worth it. It's just a wonderful book. Also,
all right,
now, go ahead.
I just want to mention that Nell Cooper, the author, was just a guest on this show a couple of weeks ago. So people could hit the archives and learn more about this and Nell and the book and Princess Lil, and check that out.
All right. Pandemonium in Puzzle Town by B.A. Johnson is out. B.A. Johnson also wrote the Sassy books, the Sassy series. Sassy discovers the AME Church, and Sassy discovers Peter Allen's Secret. And these are books that teach children, and Pandemonium in Puzzle Town is one that teaches about bullying and how to accept people and not be a jerk. So get out there and grab yourself a copy.
All right. Another children's book that we've just put out in the past few weeks, Miratambo Moonsong by Michael Filippello. This one has original multimedia paintings in it, and in each page the story is only a couple of sentences, so it's aimed at fairly young children. But there's Zinkle-Quinkles in it, and you can't argue with a book that's got Zinkle-Quinkles. So that's Miratambo Moonsong by Michael Filippello, and it's out there. Last I saw it was shooting way up on the charts. So let's see, when we get to the top 25 print bestsellers, we'll see if it's on there.
Yeah, back in the 80s, somebody spiked my drink with a Zinkle-Quinkle, and I saw colors like you wouldn't believe. All right, also out now is the audiobook version of Cheryl Carpinello's The King's Ransom, Young Knights of the Round Table. This was a fun project to work on for Cheryl. We brought in Ethan Drew. He's a movie star, actor. He was in the Camp Hideaway movie, co-starring Christopher Lloyd. And Ethan was actually the star of it. He got star billing over Doc Brown from the Back to the Future movies. Just a fantastic audiobook, got the sound effects, got the music. Ethan is a professional at reading. He does animated stuff too, so he knows what he's doing. Get out there and grab a copy of this if you got a young reader, and this young adult, so it can be preteen to mid-teens, and they're going to enjoy it. So, then just a minute ago, Stephen had mentioned Nell Cooper being I almost said Nell Carter, Nell Carter being on the show. Nell Cooper, she was on the show here a few weeks ago, and we've got an archive that's got pretty much every episode we've done for the last close to 4 years on this show, over 200 episodes. And if you missed Nell Cooper, you can find it in the archive. So we're going to go ahead and send you to how you can find the archives.
Find your favorite show in the Voice of Indie archives on YouTube at Fresh Ink Group, StephenG's.com, BeamWeeks.com, FreshInkGroup.com, and on Spotify. And now you can listen on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and tune in. Just search The Voice of Indie, all one word.
We got to update that because Google Podcast doesn't exist anymore.
Okay. Make a note.
Yeah.
Make a note.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got more books out. Just about 3 weeks ago, we put out Mr. President, I've Got Your Back, the First Ladies of South Carolina State University. Now, several years ago, we published a book by Abigail H. Hugueny called There Must Be Something in the Water, and it was about descendants of emancipated slaves in the low country of South Carolina who wound up getting highly educated and going on and accomplishing great things. And she did profiles, and it's a real historical look at that and real inspirational as well. She's come back now with a second book, and this one she co-authored with Mary L. Smalls, who are both former First Ladies of South Carolina State University. That's a great history book. It's got inspiration, a lot of historical photos, and it's a great case study for what important roles women play. Often not necessarily as the front person getting all the credit for it. In this case, these were the first wives who were supporting the presidents of the university, their husbands. At any rate, these two know the history, they know the story, they collected the pictures, they put it all together, and now it's out as Mr. President, I've Got Your Back, the First Ladies of South Carolina State University. And Beam, I got a feeling that one might be performing well on our print bestseller list. We'll have to see.
I'll bet it is. I'll bet it. Also out now is, and doing quite well and receiving a lot of great critical acclaim and some awards, A Beggar's Bargain, Book 1 of the Bargainer series by Jan Sykes. And we've got it on good authority that Jan is hard at work on Book 2 of the Bargainer series, A Noble Bargain. So keep your eyes and ears open. Are you subscribed to our newsletter? Because it'll be in there.
Ooh. Got another one. The Nurses, Book 1 of the Nurses of the Krieg series. It's out now, and we've got a new trailer for it over on YouTube. That's by Anna Morgan over in the United Kingdom. It's two teenage girls growing up in Germany during World War II who want to be nurses. And then the war breaks out, things get ugly, and they get caught up in the hard reality of being nurses during wartime. That's The Nurses, Book 1 of Nurses of the Krieg by Anna Morgan. Out now. Get your copies.
All right. And also out now and doing pretty well is Tina Reist's A Light in the Darkness. Tina is a special needs person who goes to my church, and she lives in assisted living, and she likes to write poetry and words of encouragement to people all the time, and she approached me about putting it together in a book, so we did. Now, Tina, this past week, she underwent surgery on her neck and her back, and I'm glad to say that she's doing well and she's recovering, and I look forward to seeing her at church on Sunday. And congratulations to Tina on this book. So we're having a lot of fun. And as I mentioned a little while ago, we've got a newsletter. Are you subscribed to it? If not, here's how you can get that and find out what's going on in the world of Fresh Ink Group, indie publishing, and the Voice of Indie podcast.
Stay on top of these podcasts and all things Fresh Ink Group with our weekly digital newsletter, new releases, videos, stories, excerpts, interviews, and more. Sign up now on the homepage of freshinkgroup.com and be the one who knows what's what.
What?
All right, let's take a quick look at the top 25 print bestsellers published by Fresh Ink Group. What's been happening the past week in print? I'm not looking at digital numbers. That's a whole different pile of digits. So right now we're just going to take a look at the print. Number 25, Beem, A Light in the Darkness, Words and Poems of Encouragement by Tina Reist, which you just mentioned. That's only been out for 5 weeks now, 4 to 5 weeks, something like that, and it's doing very well. It's in our top 25 print bestsellers. Now, here's a book that we just published literally days ago. I Remember Judy, A Love Story by Verwain Greenhoe. And Beam, that's the hardcover edition.
Wow.
So that's in our number 24 slot. In the number 23 slot, Toward Interfaith Harmony by Marshall L. Shearer, M.D. This was his final book. I was helping him get this put together, and he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And that progressed very rapidly, and then he passed away fairly quickly, just about the time we finished the book. So Toward Interfaith Harmony is a look at world religions, their commonalities, their differences, and looking for ways that we can find to get along, which is, interesting concept, huh? Toward Interfaith Harmony by Marshall L. Shearer, M.D. I'm proud to see that one on there. We worked hard on that, and he really struggled toward the end trying to make this happen. So I appreciate people getting out there and supporting that book. My Three Wishes, Memoir of a Hawaiian Dancer Whose Family Troupe Traveled the World by Kanoi K. That's moved up into our number 21 slot here. Very cool. It's been 3 or 4 years since we published that book, but it keeps popping back onto our list. So congratulations, Kanoi. Pandemonium in Puzzle Town is next by B.A. Johnson. That's the hardcover edition. Illustrated chapter book for kids about inclusion, learning to get along, and fitting in. And then above that, Sassy Discovers the AME Church, also by B.A. Johnson. That's the first of her 2 Sassy books. Sassy Discovers the AME Church and Sassy Uncovers Peter Allen's Secret. The next one, Marshall L. Shearer, M.D., and his wife, Marguerite R. Shearer, M.D., Maximizing Happiness Through Intimate Communication, 3rd edition. We first published that book, maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah,
first edition.
A while ago.
Yeah, quite a while ago. And then we put out the 2nd edition some years later, and then we updated it with a 3rd edition while we were getting close to the end of Marshall's life. And I do want to mention that his wife, Marguerite R. Shearer, just passed away a few months ago, too. So we've lost both of the Shearers now. But we're proud to keep their books out there in perpetuity and share their wisdom and words with the world. Now, Jan Sykes, she's next up on the list with A Beggar's Bargain, the paperback edition, book 1 of the Bargainers series. A second book, A Noble Bargain, is in the works. So we're looking forward to that one, Jan. All right, 25, 4, 3, 2, 1, 20, 19, 18, 17. I think we're about 17 here. Celebrate 98. The Untold Stories Behind the Tennessee Football Vols' 1998 National Championship by Dave Hooker of Off the Hook Sports. Man, that's a cool book. He's got the pictures. He's got the stories behind it. He's got the inside scoop. He was friends with many of the football players and the coach for that championship team. So to this day, he keeps in touch with a lot of those people, and he's got a very cool Where Are They Now section in there. So if you were ever a fan of the Tennessee Vols or college football in general, this is a collector's book that you're going to want to have. Now, of course, Beam, we're going to have to learn how to start a food truck business, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
We got two from A.K. Wingler here, how to start and run your own food truck business in Florida. And then above that, how to start and run your own food truck business in Tennessee. So Georgia is her 3rd food truck book. It's not on the list right now. Florida tends to be the bestseller in that series. Next up, we've got a retired U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander, Jerry Pate, submariner, 30 years of hijinks, and keeping the fleet afloat. So that's 60-chapter memoir, life above and below the sea, with all kinds of cool anecdotes and a wicked sense of humor. You would definitely enjoy Jerry's writing. Jerry is now one of four submariners whose book we published. So we tend to keep our feet wet around here. Above that, Gwendolyn M. Plano, Letting Go into Perfect Love, Discovering the Extraordinary After Abuse. What's that about, Beem?
That is a memoir about coming out of her first marriage was basically a hellish situation, and she pulled through it, and she's telling you how she pulled through it, and her whole new outlook on life. Gwen is just an amazing woman. I'm proud to call her friend, and if you know somebody who's struggling, and it doesn't have to be in an abusive relationship, it could be in other parts of life. This is an uplifting book, and it shows you how she was able to rise above it all, and how she learned to forgive. That's the big thing, because when you learn to forgive, you're taking the load off of yourself.
Yep. All right, now the next two on our list are the same book, Operation Counterpunch by Mark Marlowe. The hardcover and the paperback are both on the list right now, selling exactly the same numbers of copies, which is pretty cool. Now, Mark Marlowe, this was his first novel. We've not seen his second novel yet. He's up there in Alaska.
Shooting bears.
Shooting bears, having a good old time. But Mark Marlowe's a cool storyteller, so if you're into political thrillers, you're going to want to check that out. Above that, Dr. Helen Burrell, American Agony, the Opioid War Against Patients in Pain. And then above that, Robert G. Willis-Croft, the first of the Mac McDowell Mission series books, Operation Ivy Bells, Mac McDowell Mission. There are now 4 books in that series, and the 5th one, Operation Vela Redux, is in the pipeline. So we should have that out in a couple of more weeks as well. Then there will be 5 books in that series. He's got 4 books in the Orc Chronicles series. He's got 4 books in the Star Child Saga series. This guy's starting to put some words out.
He's a writing fool.
Writing fool, yeah. Scoundrel is the word that I've been using to talk about him lately. He's a writing scoundrel. All right, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Numbers 7 and 5 are the same book. Miratambo Moonsong by Michael Filippello. Congratulations, Michael. Both editions of your book are in the top 7. Now, this is a big book, 8.5 by 11, and it's a children's book, so we've put it out in digital form, paperback form, and a case laminate. That's where you glue the cover right to the hard cover book and put gloss on it to make it look real slick. Miratambo Moonsong, 5 and 7. Now, in between them, we got a guy in the Country Music Hall of Fame. Who would that be?
That would be Mark Arden, former drummer for 28 years of the country supergroup Alabama.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm almost getting tired of announcing that he's in the top 25 because it's just been year after year after year.
I'm not tired. I'm not
tired of it, but yeah,
he earned that.
He tends to be up there in the top 5 or so. So
yeah.
And right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, Mark, you didn't make the top 5 this week, but number 6 you'll just have to settle for. All right, that gets us to our top 4. There are only 2 books in our top 4. 1 and 2 are the same book. 3 and 4 are the same book.
Wow.
3 and 4, Nell Cooper, Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow. The paperback and the hardcover are both in our top 4 print bestsellers this week. And that book's only been, 2 weeks? 2 to 3 weeks since we put that out. So it is climbing rapidly. Nell is very proud of this. It's been a long time since she put a book out, and she's just been having a lot of fun with this. She's getting great reception. She just talked to some people today who have invited her to make some appearances on their shows. So she's getting back into the thick of it again, and this is fun to watch. Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow by Nell Cooper. That leaves us to our top 2, which is the same book, the paperback and the hardcover edition of Abigail H. Eugenie and Mary L. Smalls' Mr. President. I've Got Your Back, the First Ladies of South Carolina State University. And I'll tell you, if you go to number 3 and you add 25% more sales to that, you're at Mr. President at number 2, and then you double that, and you've got paperback sales at number 1. So Mr. President is way out there on the numbers compared to the rest of these books. Congratulations, Eugenie and Smalls. You ladies have really hit a nerve on this one, and I'm glad to see that you're working on the First Ladies of Alabama A&M University as your second installment in this series. Congratulations to everybody.
Yeah, all right. Also, coming out here pretty soon, Sunrise Over the Pumpkin Patch by Carlisle Toms. Keep your eyes and ears on the newsletter and on this this podcast for the release date. Also, as Stephen just mentioned in the top 25, I Remember Judy by Verwayne Greenhoe is out. And Verwayne has a post on X. He says, "We in the house," talking about he and his wife, Lisa. And he says, "Welcome, Rob and Joan." That's tonight's guest. So we're going to play a couple of commercials here real quick, and we're going to come back and introduce you to our guest.
In 1948, 8-year-old Kay is at Oakdale, the Lapeer State Home in Michigan, where people of all ages with physical and mental aberrations come to live. Kay wonders why she is here and if she will ever leave. She cares for an infant who will not let anyone else feed her, and she has friends, especially a boy her age she calls Toe. When Kay and Toe grow close as teens, she discovers the home has scheduled surgery that will change her life. With the clothes she's wearing and the file containing her life story, Kay flees late one dark night. Toe tries to chase after her, but a fateful accident robs him of the chance to seek the love of his life. Will Kay ever experience the kind of family she has longed for? Published in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook editions by Fresh Ink Group, Nell Cooper's Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow is a historically accurate coming-of-age story about identity, belonging, and learning to choose one's own destiny. Read Nell Cooper's Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow.
Mr. President, I've got your back. South Carolina State College was established in 1896 by the state legislature to provide educational opportunities to African Americans. The college is situated on land acquired by the state from the United Methodist Church in 1869. Thomas E. Miller was named the first president. Faced with many challenges and struggles, Miller and his wife, Anna, did an excellent job of moving the college forward and building a foundation for later growth and development. Since that time, 13 presidents and 5 interims have continued to build upon Miller's legacy. Although much is written about the presidents, very little has been written about their spouses who aided them in furthering the university. This book is by 2 of the school's prominent first ladies, Abigail H. Hugheny, author of There Must Be Something in the Water, Anthology of the 4th Generation, Descendants of Green Pond, After the Emancipation, and Mary L. Smalls, Retired Educator Administrator. Now available in case-limited hardcover, softcover, and all digital ebook formats. Mr. President, I've Got Your Back is published by Fresh Ink Group. This important contribution to African American history features 12 dynamic, smart, and innovative First Ladies who demonstrated through their untiring support. Mr. President, I've got your back.
Yeah, I think we need to open every show with that because it puts me in the groove, you know?
Yeah, that's some cool music there.
Yeah, now before I read today's bio, I just want to add a little personal note to it. Our guests tonight, Rob and Joan Carter, Beem and I have known them for many years. We all belonged to a book club some years back, too, and they were put on my list of people to help promote. So I learned about their books. They didn't have very many out back then. They were just getting going. My favorite one was the Zombies book. I don't even remember the exact title, but at any rate, so we got to know them real well. They've got a great podcast that's on before ours, a video podcast featuring primarily authors as their guests. So in our newsletter, we try to promote that every week so that you can find their show. They help promote ours. So we like to support each other. We're just proud to be part of the same author community. So let's learn who these people are. Several years ago, Rob and Joan published their first book, Bioprints. The series follows Ryan O'Rourke, an insurance fraud investigator, and his team as they work to solve the murder of Ryan's best friend. This novel involves the black market trafficking of 3D printed human body parts, flash zombies, and clone drones. That's the one I couldn't think of the title, Flash Zombies and Clone Drones. I mean, how do you pass a book like that, right? Flash Zombies and Clone Drones are books 2 and 3 in the series, with book 4 currently on the drawing board. In the works is a children's book that teaches the value of friendship and a paranormal book about many of their investigations. They are also researching the Phoenician era during the time Jezebel was born, which will eventually become a book. At some point, they do plan to write a book about their family adventures, of which there have been many. Rob and Joan Carter also started the author promotion service Indie Book Source and host the weekly talk show Meet the Author podcast. They have 6 children and 14 grandchildren, which keep them very busy. Welcome to the show, Rob and Joan.
Welcome.
Thank you, and we're very happy to be here.
And our family has grown. We have our first great-grandchild. She just turned a year old in June.
Wow.
I know.
Congratulations.
Some people send out birth announcements. Authors send out author blurb updates.
When they remember to do that.
Yeah.
So now, let's get people caught up. Maybe there's some first-time listeners here tonight. Where are you currently living, and where are you originally from, and where all have you lived?
Oh, my God. How long do you have? We're currently living in a suburb of Tampa, so we're in the Tampa Bay area.
And I grew up in the Chicago area.
And I'm from Boston. And we've lived
Boston. Oh, my gosh. We've lived in
Oregon,
Illinois,
yeah,
Michigan, New York, Maryland.
Why so many places?
We were running from the law. No, just kidding.
Yeah, and starting a podcast is a good way to do that.
A video podcast.
No, you're not going out there,
Yeah.
are you? They'll never find us that way.
Where you darken the
Rob,
screen so they can't see who you are, and somebody comes in and turns the light on.
You've got to mention California.
And I didn't get over to California. Yeah, California, and then back to here in Florida.
So originally we moved often because Rob worked for in the moving industry. And so they don't mind sending you all over the country as you move up the corporate ladder. That just happens. And then we got really tired of that, and he decided to become an air traffic controller, which he did. So then he worked in California.
We went to Oklahoma to the academy.
Academy.
Air Traffic Academy.
And then he was assigned to
Then he went to California.
And then here to Florida.
Yeah, to Tampa.
And we've been here for almost 30 years now.
You're probably going to be there for a while, you think? Settle down?
Well, we've been here for 30 years, and we're in our late 70s, so
okay.
I don't know how much longer we have.
You have good access to your kids and grandkids there?
Yeah, they're all here except for one daughter who stayed in California.
Right.
She and her husband stayed in California. All the rest are here with us. Yay. We're also paranormal investigators. We belong to a team here in Tampa Bay called Tampa Bay Spirits. And as you know, a year ago, we lost Caleb Pirtle. I'm sure everybody misses him. We do.
In the indie author community,
And before he passed away, it was really awful.
Yeah.
Still is. Think about him all the time. Before he passed away, he asked us to be part of the Underground Authors group and to write a book for their crime series, the Magnolia Bluff Chronicles, Crime Chronicles. And he wanted us to do a paranormal book. So we did, and we used our team, Tampa Bay Spirits, and all of the way that we do investigations, we use that in the book with fictional characters, Mike and Maureen Donovan, who do not exist. But so in the book, you get to see how a paranormal team actually works and things that actually happen to them. And we were going to do it by the book, all the way through the book, but then the 2 ghosts that were in the house that Mike and Maureen had been asked to investigate in Magnolia Bluff kind of took over, so... But it was a fun book to write.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the whole paranormal investigative stuff too. So we'll touch base on that here tonight as well. Now, speaking of writing, how did you both get into writing? Were you always writers and readers, or is this something that came later on?
Well, I think for myself, I loved to read when I was younger, back in school, and loved like Edgar Rice Burroughs and all those kind of books. And then I attempted to write a fantasy, but it turned out to be almost identical to Lord of the Rings. So it didn't work out too well. And so I kind of put that on the side. And then once we got together, I started writing again.
And I've always been an avid reader, and I started writing when I was in the first grade. I wrote, directed, and starred in a play that the school put on for the whole town that I lived in, believe it or not. And I must have been a very bossy little thing, but that's the first thing that I ever wrote was a play. But I've always written. I wrote in school, and then I read Rob's attempt, and I said to him, "Yeah, this is not going to work."
It was well written. It just was
very derivative.
Kind of derivative.
the play thing. I had a kind of a similar experience. It was when I was in 5th grade. I co-wrote a play with another kid in class, and we just did it for fun. And then the teacher, he thought that it was something that was, hey, let's put this on. So he was the guy. He was the casting director. He cast all the parts, and then he put it on. Had us put it on for the whole school. We didn't do it for the whole town, but just for the whole school. And that was kind of cool. So I mean, I got bit by the writing bug back then.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was actually in the newspaper. It was in the newspaper, covered in the newspaper,
cool.
and everything. It's so weird, though. Think about that, a first grader. I can't imagine how good it actually was.
And the Oscar goes to?
Yeah, me. I wrote it, I directed it, I starred in it. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't think it was that great. So in the 10th grade, I went to a private parochial school, Catholic school, and I had to write a short story as an English assignment, and I did, and the nun accused me of plagiarizing it.
So familiar.
G.K. Chesterton, and I did not. And so there was a big to-do about that, and my father went to the school and talked to the mother superior, who's a Catholic school principal, and demanded that they find the story that G.K. Chesterton wrote that I plagiarized, and I didn't plagiarize it. But, yeah. So that put me off writing for a little while.
Yeah, that's crazy there. Well, we're going to take, we got a phone call here. We got a caller on the line. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, you guys want to take a call?
Sure.
All right. We are talking with Rob and Joan Carter, and we will, if you want to call in, 516-453-9902. 516-453-9902, and we'll be right back.
Set in medieval Wales during the mystical times of King Arthur, 11-year-old Gavin and his friends are determined to prove their mentor, the Wild Man, innocent of murder. The youngest heir of Pembroke Castle, 11-year-old Gavin longs to prove he is worthy of knighthood, but he fears his own failures, and now he must choose between fleeing and fighting to save his friend. Gavin's coming-of-age story is full of mystery, intrigue, betrayal, and the charms of an eerie witch. Will Gavin earn his knighthood, or will evil challenge his very survival? Read the young adult chapter book, The King's Ransom, Tales and Legends, Young Knights of the Round Table, by Cheryl Carpinello, and now discover the audiobook narrated by Ethan Drew. With music and sound effects, Produced and published by Fresh Ink Group. Cheryl Carpinello's King's Ransom, Tales and Legends audiobook is available worldwide.
The stranger in Puzzletown has everyone talking. When he gets off the bus, his frumpy old suitcase simply says Kevin. He looks normal, but in a town where everybody has knobs, Kevin has no knobs. He's too different. Where can he live? Who would ever want to be his friend? Then a powerful force enters Puzzletown, and their world spins out of control. How will Kevin ever become a true citizen of Puzzletown when he just doesn't fit in? An illustrated chapter book for children. Puzzletown is by retired educator B.A. Johnson, author of Sassy Discovers the AME Church and Sassy Uncovers Peter Allen's Secret. Available in case-limited hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. Puzzletown teaches about inclusion in a fun and entertaining way. Published by Fresh Ink Group, Puzzletown has everybody talking.
All right. That is available. Get out and get your copy. All right, let's go to the phone lines and see who we got here. Hello, caller. You're on the air. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, yeah, it's Joe Conjal, and I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Well, hello,
hey,
Joe.
Hey.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe. Hello. How's everybody tonight?
Doing fantastic.
We're really good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know I was going to have to call in for you.
I know.
So, anyway, I'm just, first off, I wanted to say that I absolutely loved A Chance of a Ghost. I mean, it's a great book, and it's a book that I think that if you haven't read it yet out there, that you should get a copy and read it because it's terrific. But my question here is, what's next for you guys when it comes to Magnolia Bluff? I know you've got another book that you're going to be putting out next year. Are we going to see another paranormal story? Is it going to be the same characters, or are you going to go a completely different direction? I mean, what's the next move for you guys when it comes to the next book in that series?
It's definitely going to be paranormal, and we are going to use some of the same characters. Obviously not, well, I can't say that. That would give away the ending. But, yeah, we'll be using some of the same characters, and, Caleb was really brilliant because he really wanted us to write this book, and we had so much fun writing it that, yeah, we want to continue it. So it's coming out in April of next year, so Mike and Maureen will be back in Magnolia Bluff next April, the same as they were there this past year. So, yeah, there's going to be more murder and more ghosts.
Now, are they going to, will they be staying with their cousins again, or will they, a completely different reason why they're in Magnolia Bluff?
There is a very different reason why they're going to be in Magnolia Bluff. I don't know. We haven't decided where they're going to stay yet. We haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, it's too early for them to make reservations.
Okay.
I mean, that's a year away, almost.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's quite a year away. It is August now, so,
Yeah.
That's true.
Now, don't count the days or I'm going to get nervous.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm sure you guys will pull it together with plenty of time, as you always do.
Well, I'll tell you what. We are asked to go back there, but spoiler alert, it's a ghost that asks us to come.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
Hey.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, good deal.
Yep.
Well, listen, I appreciate you putting up with my wonderful questions here for you tonight. And like I said, I do think it's a great book, and I look forward to your next one and your part of the series.
Thank you. And I'm reading your book, your second book right now.
And I just finished Second Chances, and it's brilliant. It is brilliant. You really did a good job.
Yeah, he loved it.
I didn't want it to end.
Yep. And,
I figured that because it took you like 6 months to read it, Rob. So
yeah. I told you I am a slow reader because I'm busy doing other stuff.
You were just
we are a little busy.
Out as long as you could, so it wouldn't end. I get it. I know.
Well,
anyway, I'm reading Catch a Tiger by the Toe.
Yep. Thank you. All right,
now,
guys. Have a good rest of your show.
Yeah, we'll be talking to Joe here in 2 weeks on August 14th. He will be our guest, so be sure to tune in and listen and call in, Carters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Payback, right? Thank you.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for calling, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye.
Yeah, now we're talking to Rob and Joan Carter, authors of several books here. We've got Clone Drones, we've got Flash Zombies, we've got Bioprints, we've got A Chance of a Ghost, part of the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles. If you want to talk to Rob or Joan, give us a call, people. 516-453. Go ahead, Beem.
516-453-9902.
Yep, give us a call. Now, Rob and Joan, we've already started talking about it, so let's get into it deeper. A Chance of a Ghost. Tell us more about what this Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles series is, and then let's talk more specifically about the story in A Chance of a Ghost.
Well, Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles was started basically by Caleb Pirtle and C.W. Hawes. They pretty much cooked up the idea of having the underground authors, which at that time I think there were 12 of them, each put out a book once a month, put out a book in the series about the same town, Magnolia Bluff, Texas, sharing characters and bringing in new characters. So everybody has their own writing style, and everyone has a story to tell about from a different perspective about the town.
Mm-hmm. In our book, the cousins of Mike and Maureen Donovan, who are fictional members of our real-life paranormal investigation team here in Tampa Bay, have bought this old mansion, this old Victorian mansion, and are remodeling it and are having activity, ghostly activity. And so they call on their cousins to come and help them figure out what happens. So Mike and Maureen do come, and they find that there are two entities there, and they find out who they are. They're the great-great-grandfather and the great-great-grandson. The great-great-grandfather had died under mysterious circumstances over 100 years ago. Actually, he was thought to have absconded with maybe a floozy or something. He was a railroad baron. And the great-great-grandson, when he died, stayed to help the great-great-grandfather pass over. And that's the whole story about the ghosts.
And once they get there, Mike starts having premonitions or visions about someone going to be murdered in Magnolia Bluff, a prominent citizen, and he has visions of a restaurant burning and a fire and in the town. So they're not sure how to approach it, and they're not sure if it's even going to happen. It's just a premonition. It's something they're dealing with. So they're working on two things at once, with the mystery in the house and that, trying to help head off a murder.
Mike sees the picture of a big clock and a time on it, and he sees a sign burning up called, all he can see on the sign is wood-fired. And then when they're investigating around town, they find out that there's a coffee shop called Really Good Wood-Fired Coffee Shop and Ice Cream Emporium.
Right.
And they assume that that's what it is. And so then, you'll have to read the book to see what they find. They are out of their depth because they don't know how to investigate crime. They only know how to investigate ghosts.
And they don't have a whole team with them. It's just the two of them.
Just the two of them. And they're cooperating with the team.
Is any of this based in some of your real life investigations, or is this all just strictly fiction?
Actually, the clock, the premonition of the clock is something that I've seen, that I had seen, and so we wrote it for Mike the same way that I had seen it, and
cool.
And in all of the investigation that they do, all of the investigation methods that Mike and Maureen do, we do, in all of the responses from the entities are real responses that we've actually had. So that all is very real. And we explain that at the end of the book. So.
All right, we are going to take another break here, but when we come back, maybe we can talk about some of that ghost hunting. I understand you guys visited Gettysburg, which sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, listeners,
right.
You can still call in, especially if you're a reader, and even more so coming up if you're a fan of the ghost hunting. So 516-453-9902, 516-453-9902. And we'll be right back.
An illustrated fantasy for children, Miratambo Moonsong is a magical and uniquely told story about the clock of Miratambo. Struck by a bolt of lightning at 3:02, the clock of Miratambo has stopped ticking. What will the Zinkelquinkles of the town do? The kind Grand Baron who gave the clock to the town many blue moons ago sees what happens and sends a comet to the clock to save it from being silenced forever. When the moon is over Grand Shiloh Rise, will the clock come to life again with music and light and sound? Beautifully illustrated by author and artist Michael Filippello, Miratambo Moonsong is proudly published in case laminate hardcover, glossy softcover, and all ebook formats. Introduce your favorite kids to the Zinkelquinkles in Miratambo Moonsong.
A shocking proposal that changes everything. Desperate to honor his father's dying wish, Laken Martin vows to do whatever it takes to save the family farm. Once the Army discharges him following World War II, Laken returns to Missouri to find his legacy in shambles and in jeopardy. A foreclosure notice from the bank doubles the threat. He appeals to the local banker for more time, a chance to rebuild, plant, and harvest crops, and time to heal far away from the noise of bombs and gunfire. But the banker firmly denies his request. Now what? Then the banker makes an alternative proposition. Marry his unwanted daughter, Sarah Beth, in exchange for a 2-year extension. Out of options, money, and time, Laken agrees to the bargain. Now he has 2 years to make a living off the land while he shares his life with a stranger. Read A Beggar's Bargain, Book 1 in the Bargainer series by best-selling author Jan Sykes. Available worldwide from multimedia publisher Fresh Ink Group in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. A Beggar's Bargain by Jan Sykes.
All right. Be ready for a noble bargain. That's coming soon.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a ghost standing here looking over my shoulder complaining about how he was portrayed in Robin Jones' latest book. So I'll be surprised if you don't hear from some paranormal attorney somewhere.
There's always a chance of a ghost.
Yeah.
So now you were talking before the show that you visited Gettysburg. Now I'm a big fan of the old ghost hunting shows like Ghost Hunters. That's the big one, Ghost Adventures and all that. And both of those shows went to Gettysburg. And even if you go someplace and you don't find anything, you don't capture anything, there's this great historical element there. So it's always interesting because I'm a history buff to begin with. So what did you find at Gettysburg, and what all did you do there?
Wow. Well, we Well, we investigated the Jenny Wade house. Our team did after it was shut down for the tourists, and we had free reign.
Explain to the listeners what the Jenny Wade house is. I know what it is, but some people might not know what it is.
Jenny Wade house is a place where the only civilian killed in Gettysburg was killed by a stray shot. So it was a 20-year-old girl who had just finished baking bread, walking down the stairs, and a bullet came through and killed her. It's really a sad story. She was staying with her sister, who was pregnant, and her sister's husband was off fighting, and it was just really, really hard on the whole family.
And we had activity. We split up. There were 10 of us. We called ourselves the Gettysburg 10, as a matter of fact. But anyway.
We had T-shirts.
Anyway.
Coffee mugs?
Yes, coffee mugs. We've got ours right here, yep.
But at any rate, we split up generically, not any big plan or anything, but as the Spirit led, so to speak. Some people went upstairs that felt led to go upstairs, and the other people stayed downstairs. And we had our REM pods going. We had all of our equipment out there.
Cat balls.
Cat balls, yeah.
SLS cameras.
Digital recorders, and infrared, and the whole 9 yards. And all the equipment was going off in direct response to questions that were being asked. And
they were using the Estes method upstairs.
Right.
Yep. It was just so much happened. For one thing, we found out that Jenny's real name was Virginia, and her nickname was Jenny. And so we quit calling her Jenny and started calling her Ginny, and as soon as we did, we got a lot of response from her. We did the flashlight method, too.
Right, flashlights.
What's that?
Well, the flashlights you used to be able to buy at any gas station or any 7-Eleven or that type of store, where you would twist the end to turn it on. You didn't push it. Okay.
Yeah.
You take one of those and you twist it just to the point where it's ready to turn on, and you set it down on a shelf or a windowsill or a table, and you ask the entity to turn the light on and off for yes or no. And we have always had great success with that. And we actually have a video of when we did a session in St. Augustine Lighthouse, and there was a crowd of people. Yeah, it's really, we've investigated there about 4 times, but there was a crowd of people around us watching us do this, and they just freaked out when they saw the flashlight turn on and off by itself. And the entity we were conversing with turned it on and off and answered questions for almost an hour. And then at the end, this one man said to me, "Can I see that flashlight?" And he took it all apart and everything. And he turned around and he looked at the crowd and he said, "Oh my gosh, this is just a regular flashlight. There's no way they could have rigged this." So, yeah, it's really crazy when you see it for the first time. When you're standing in a room and an unseen person is turning a flashlight on and off to communicate with you, it's pretty crazy.
And we have spent hours, I would say, with the setup and on, like on a dresser or on a bookcase or whatever, and asking questions in a place where there wasn't any activity, and it never does go on. So it's not like it's sitting there and it's malfunctioning or something. It just,
someone's really turning it on and off.
Yeah, something's really working there.
So the reason we did that, we set it up one time for 45 minutes and it did nothing. And then the next time we set it up for 3 hours and it did nothing. And it's because we'd read all these articles saying that the battery overheats and that turns it on and off. And I would think that, well, we never have used it for 3 hours in an investigation, asking questions. We all would have been exhausted by then. and it never did that, turn on or off all by itself, ever. So,
all right,
something's definitely turning it on and off.
Did you happen to pick up any EVPs during this Gettysburg trip?
We haven't gone through all of the digital recorders yet, but what we've listened to so far, no, and we didn't pick up anything on camera either. Well, other than watching the flashlights go on and off and the red pods go on and off and the cat balls being turned on and off when there was nobody near them. Yeah.
Didn't hear any of the gunshots or anything like that?
The last time we were there, we heard cannon shot and gunshot. We also, though, this is weird, we went to Sachs Bridge, and we'd been told there was an entity there that would smoke a cigarette if you lit it for him and put it on the railing, so we did, and guess what? He did.
Wow.
How weird is that? You could see the draw. Now, that's really freaky. Yeah. It actually freaked out a couple of our team members.
He doesn't pick up, you don't see the cigarette floating in the air. No. It sits on the railing, but when you ask him to take a draw of it, you can see it light up like someone's drawing on the cigarette.
Do you have video of that?
I don't know if we we did?
I did.
You videoed it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
do you have
we
a place where we can see these videos, like the light being turned on and off or whatever? Do you have like the YouTube channel or someplace?
Yeah, when we get them processed, we'll put them up and we'll let you know.
Okay.
Right now, where can they watch the Lighthouse video? Where do we have that? On Carter Novels?
Yeah, that's on the Paranormal Corner on CarterNovels.com.
And what about the, do we have something set up on our Facebook, our team Facebook or our team website?
Not with that.
Not with that. Yeah, we'll have to do that. Put it up on our team website, Tampa Bay Spirits.
TampaBaySpirits1.com, the number 1, the digit, TampaBaySpirits1.com. And
cool.
Once we get next on the 15th of August, we'll have a live show,
a podcast
on our Tampa Bay Spirits Facebook page. And
it's called Haunted Campfire
Tales,
and it's on once a month.
And we're going to go over all of our stuff from Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, the lighthouse, the lighthouse.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that on. That was one of my favorite episodes of Ghost Hunters because it was just some weird stuff that went on there. I mean, it's not like they had ghosts in their face. But there was just definitely some weird, creepy stuff that went on there.
Well, our daughter is part of the team, and she had gone to the lighthouse with us the first time as part of the team that went out there, and this was a long time ago. I forget how many years ago. And we actually heard, do you remember the part where the oil can was slammed down that they used to carry up and down? That happened to us.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. When we were the only ones.
When we were the only ones in the lighthouse because we were investigating. There was, no tourists or anything there. I mean, we probably jumped a mile. I mean, that's loud in that lighthouse when that thing slams down. And, of course, we had to then run all the way up the stairs to make sure there wasn't a living person up there doing it.
We were a few years younger then.
We were years younger then. I was not running up there again.
Hire someone younger to give a chase. Go see if there's somebody out there.
The younger team members can do that now.
Yeah.
We've already told them that because they want to go there and investigate. And we said, you're going up there. We're not.
All right, we are going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some more books. We are talking to Rob Joan Carter, and you can still call in if you're out there listening. You've got a question or a comment, 516-453-9902, and we will be right back.
In the Pruitt-Igoe slums of St. Louis in the 1960s, a heroin addict mother breaks her son's dolls and screams, "You are not a girl." However, no one can convince Stephanie to live as Stephen. Her mother pimps her out to a man who rapes and takes pictures of her. After finding her mother brutally murdered, she is placed in Christian foster care, where they also try to convince her to accept being male. Her mother's lover is sentenced to life in prison for the murder. Author of widely praised The Calling Dream, Carlisle Thoms brings back famed televangelist Pastor Ronald Dennison in this unflinching sequel, Edge of Smoke. Dennison sets up a trust that allows a compassionate old neighbor to adopt Stephanie out of foster care. Still, she is violently bullied at school for identifying as female. The trust pays for transition surgery at 18, and she begins to live fully as a woman. Frightened by men, she remains a virgin until she falls in love with Jordan. But she runs into the man who abused her and remembers her childhood pledge to kill him. Will her lust for murdering the man who brutalized her as a child cause her to lose the man she loves? Proudly published by Fresh Ink Group, The Calling Dream, and now Edge of Smoke can be found anywhere and shipped everywhere in jacketed hardcover and softcover editions, or downloaded in all ebook formats. Edge of Smoke by Carlisle Thoms.
Discover interstellar drama with Robert G. Willis Croft's science fiction series, The Oort Chronicles. In the first chronicle, Icicle, a tensor matrix, Braxton Thorpe has discovered a threat to the entire solar system, but he has a problem. He's dead. Frozen at death, he awakens to find himself uploaded into an electronic matrix. Exploring the larger global net, he discovers the Oort, a distributed electronic entity older than humanity, with an unnerving secret. Aliens wiped out nearly all life on Earth once and are coming back to do it again. The mathematical entity that is Thorpe has to find a way to convince humans of the threat, and in time to do something about it. But how? And what? In the second Oort Chronicle, the Oort Federation to the Stars, Braxton Thorpe passes the Federation chairmanship to former U.S. President John Butler. Thorpe's group offers humanity virtual immortality, but Isidore Orloff and his Udachni enterprises oppose their every move. Phoenix terraforms Mars for more living space, but the Mars Reds prove formidable resistors. In this tense space adventure, Thorpe, his team, and Max the Tabby Cat travel to Proxima Centauri and beyond to the Aster system, 84 light-years distant. Will Thorpe bring together humans and Asterians in their quest for intergalactic travel? Will long life prove more than mere humans can handle? In the third Oort Chronicle, Ran, a civilization in hiding, humans commence a voyage of discovery to the cold spot in the cosmic microwave background. Their first stop is the planet Arcan, orbiting Ran in the constellation Eridanus, where they discover an incipient spacefaring Saurian civilization that has hidden itself from the rest of the galaxy. Arcan has 3 ruling nations: a fascist dictatorship, a primitive theocracy, and a free market republic. The humans are drawn into a rebellion to overthrow the fascist tyrant, and then help thwart the theocratic prophet's ambitions to subjugate Arcan. Told entirely from the Arcan perspective, Ran centers on the human aliens' desire to integrate Arcans into their growing Oort Federation. In the fourth Oort Chronicle, Cade, a lost civilization, Starship Andromeda stops at the Cade Triple Star System on its voyage of discovery and stumbles on a derelict Dyson sphere. The starship is attacked by microbots, scavenging one part of the sphere to repair another. They map the sphere and discover several primitive races inside: humanoid, feline, and saurian. The explorers discover that the Dyson Sphere's star is about to produce a super flare that could destroy all life and even the sphere itself. The explorers mount a major rescue effort to save the uploads and sapient races. Robert G. Willis Croft's series, The Oort Chronicles, is available in jacketed hardcovers, softcovers, and all ebook formats, proudly published by Fresh Ink Group. Robert G. Willis-Croft's The Ort Chronicles.
Whoa, that's a long commercial there.
That's longer than a couple of the books in the series.
Yeah. All right. Before we jump into these,
pretty cool.
Yeah. They are amazing.
Oh, they're great. Yeah.
Before we jump into the books, we got a comment over here on Twitter. Speaking of Gettysburg, this is from Verwayne Greenhill. He said, well, this is actually X, not Twitter anymore. I got to get used to that. My wife and I spent 5 days exploring the various landmarks at Gettysburg. It's one of my favorite places to visit. There were a number of places where I felt people around me. So much to remember. Well, I've had that feeling too. When I was a kid, after my parents divorced, my dad married his second wife. He rented this big old farmhouse out in Williamston, Michigan. And it's 100 and some odd acres, and it was an old dairy farm. And the guy that had originally owned it had died from a brain tumor back in the early 71 or 72. But anyway, long story short, every time I would go into one of the old barns, especially the milk barn, where the milking equipment was still there too, all these years later. And this guy, he ran it from the 20s all the way to the 60s. And anyway, so when you would walk in there, you would just feel like there were people, not just a person, but like there were people, eyes upon you. Nothing malevolent. It wasn't, scary or spooky or anything. It's just like you felt previous generations still there watching. And it was just I could still remember that. I was probably 10 years old, 8 years old back then, but I remember that feeling of previous generations are watching.
Yeah, I think all of Gettysburg is like that. Wherever you walk, it's just, you can feel it. Everyone that goes there. I think it's very sobering, it is a beautiful little town, and beautiful fields and homes, and it's just really sad to think about what happened there.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, we're talking to Rob and Joan Carter. They go by the bylines R.C. Carter and J.P. Carter, which I just was reminded of when I was looking for their books on Amazon. You guys, you got your series out, your O'Rourke crime novels. Book 1, Bioprints. Book 2, Flash Zombies. And Book 3, Clone Drones, all three of which have very cool covers. Who is O'Rourke, and why would we care?
Well, Ryan O'Rourke is a insurance fraud investigator, and the reason I guess you would care is that his best friend is murdered, and cryptically has sent, prior to getting murdered, sent a cryptic message to him through the mail. And when he finds it, he finds out he's been murdered, then he and his insurance investigating team team up to go figure out what happened to him.
Yep. There's a little bit of romance, a lot of humor. Funny stuff happens and bad stuff happens. And two of the secondary characters are my favorite, Rachel and Tony. I like Rachel because she loves guns, and every time she gets a chance to hold one or teach somebody how to use one, she's extremely excited.
I know a few people like that. So you got the 3 books out. Is there a 4th one in the works?
There was, but we've never finished it, and we know some readers who are very unhappy with that.
Right. Perhaps someday, but we kind of got sidelined
with this Magnolia Bluff thing. And that was so much fun writing that book. Honestly, I didn't realize how much fun that was going to be. I also didn't realize how much fictional made-up stuff we would make up about the ghosts, but that was really fun to develop a relationship between a great-great-grandfather and a great-great-grandson in the afterlife. That was really a fun thing to do too.
Now,
one of the interesting things is, go ahead.
Go ahead if you're going to finish up on this thing. I was
going to say that one of the readers got so invested in the characters that she was emotionally upset with one of the choices in the way we ended the book, which was, I mean, such a compliment. She felt exactly like we wanted her to feel. She was bereft and crying, and we were like, wow, that's great. I don't think she thought it was great.
Yeah, we had planned another 10 to 15,000 words. We knew where we were going with it and everything, and we got to one point, and I had been writing one part, and Joan had been writing the other, and she got to the end of the other, and she said, let me read this to you and see where we're at, with that. And she read it to me out loud, and it struck me. I said, that's it. That's where we have to end the book. That's the end of the story right there. And so there's 10 to 15,000 pages out there that never got written because of that.
Well, sometimes it works out best that way. Now, my
15,000 words.
My next question, you mentioned that one of the old fans of some fans of the O'Rourke series were waiting for the next one, and that hasn't come yet. And this woman was crying over the other one there. What sort of fan interaction do you get? Obviously, you've had interactions with these fans. What's some of your fan interaction been like?
One of them was, and I think it was over the Flash Zombies book. One of our readers had said they felt so bad. They started feeling so bad for the bad guys.
Because we put the bad guys through the ringer in that one. Yeah. I mean, they were kind of, they were twins and they were kind of bumbling idiots, and they just felt really sorry for how many problems they came into while they were trying to be,
all the stuff we put them through.
Criminals.
That
was one thing.
That's like Steve Buscemi in the movie Fargo. He gets it so bad that I start feeling bad for him, even though he's the scumbag.
Yeah. So that was one thing, and then, another reader said to us after the third book, when is the fourth coming out? I want to see the fourth because I want to see what happens, next. And we were like, it might have to wait a while. Because we left it really on it's not really a cliffhanger because things get resolved at the end, but the direction the story had been going in never got completed. So we should write a fourth one. We're trying to think of something new techie. When we came up with bioprints and clone drones and flash mobs, no flash mobs had been used to commit crimes, and that we did that in our book, years before anybody else
then you're to
started
blame.
doing it in real life.
Yeah.
It must be. It's people. Another Rod Serling Twilight.
That's why we had to keep moving.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, book 4 is going to have to look at the hot topic of AI then.
Oh my gosh! You know what? You're right.
That's the hot one right now.
That book all of a sudden got interesting.
There you go.
To me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I have trouble with is if you say a capital A, when you write AI and it's capital A, capital I, it looks like the
A1.
word HAL.
Or it looks like A1 steak sauce.
But HAL sounds like HAL.
Yeah, I'm hearing Paul Simon.
Call me Al.
There we go.
Yeah, it's when you're interacting with fans, though.
How about Hal the Computer from 2001?
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Everybody knows Hal.
AI.
But that fan interaction, it's fun to see that they're so invested in your characters that they can become emotional about what happens to fictional characters in a fictional story. Of course, I used to consider them fictional before I realized that every time we write a story, we create a parallel universe, and those people really exist out there living the lives living the lives that we've written for them. So now it's an awesome responsibility.
Absolutely. Don't you think so? Because really and truly, I am not kidding. We will be writing a book, and we have plans for it to go a certain way, and the characters are like, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to go a completely different direction. And you're like, okay, here we go. We're just along for the ride, apparently.
Yeah.
That's so true. They become so real, don't they?
Characters who won't finish the chapter until you get them a bigger trailer. All right, we've been talking
our ghosts wouldn't do it until we gave them a much bigger part, and they got a very big part then.
Yeah, we've been talking to Rob and Joan Carter, who go by the byline RC and JP Carter. It's been a lot of fun having you on. We definitely want to get the word out about your new book. We've got it in today's newsletter, so those of you who want more information and the purchase links, get over there and check that out. Rob and Joan Carter, how do people contact you, find you, follow you, send you a note, throw stuff in your front yard?
Well, I'm not going to give you our home address, but if you want to get in touch with us, carternovels@AOL.com. Yes, we still have AOL. It is still a viable email service.
You got that profile on MySpace?
I'm sorry?
You got a profile on MySpace, too?
No.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, we're on. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on several places on Facebook. YouTube, we've got a YouTube channel, Meet the Author Podcast, at Meet the Author Podcast. If you put that in there, you'll find almost 180, I think 170 some episodes, and also our on Tampa Bay Spirits .com. All of our episodes, there's like 20 episodes on there of our haunted Campfire Tales podcast. And if you live in the Atlanta area, you can listen to us on the FM radio station there, WDJY FM
99.1.
99.1.
All right.
FM.
Cool.
All right. And, of course, listeners, if you can't find it any other way, their weekly podcast where they primarily interview authors. It's a video podcast. We put that information in our newsletter every week as well. So if you subscribe to the Fresh Ink Group Voice of Indie newsletter, look for their ad in there each week with all the links and all the information that you need about their show, too. We highly endorse and encourage you to go check that out. It's a very cool show. And Rob and Joan are very cool people.
Yes, they are.
All right. We always tell people how to get in touch with you at the end of every single one of our shows.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate that.
And we thank you for this opportunity tonight and for keeping us in your newsletter.
And it's always good to talk with you guys.
We're just glad that it finally was able to happen, that the technical difficulties, I'm hoping are behind us.
We understand technical difficulties.
We do.
Yeah. Okay, listeners, we've got a few more guests coming up very soon. We've got Joe Conjal. Beem, you said he's in 2 weeks?
He's in 2 weeks. Next week, I had somebody scheduled for next week, but she is currently unable to make that date. She'll be in the coming weeks. I think we're looking at September. But I'll have someone in for next week. But, yeah, Joe is going to be in 2 weeks on the 14th.
And who we got after that?
And after that, we got Noah Asher. I don't know anything about him, but we're all going to learn about him while he's on the show. So tune in for that. And then after that, we've got Liz Gaffro, who is also a poet, a storyteller, and a member of Story Empire, which Beem and I both belong to as well, and that's StoryEmpire.com. So Liz Gaffro, we've got scheduled as well. We're looking forward to meeting her for the first time. And I am booking for September, so keep your eyes and ears open to this show and to the newsletter.
Okay. Thanks again, everybody, for participating. Starting next week, we'll be back to just one show a week on Wednesday evening, we hope. Watch that newsletter, and we look forward to seeing you all again. Thanks again, Rob and Joan Carter.
Thank you, Rob and Joan.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Beem and Stephen.
Let's see everybody next week.
All right, bye.
You're listening to The Voice of Indie.
You've been a part of Voice of Indy, a production of Fresh Ink Group. Spread the word, support our guests, then find us at freshinkgroup.com and be sure to hashtag Fresh Ink Group.